Well, I want to begin by saying thank you very much for everybody who is joining us here, talking about not only financial literacy, but getting to join with Katelyn, who is just an amazing student from Adel DeSoto Minburn. And for those of you who don't know Iowa, that's 3 great little communities wrapped up in a phenomenal school. Importantly, ADM is a perfect example of why financial literacy is so important, not just to folks in Iowa, but it's something that we should be talking about every day across the country. And as a guy who's just a little bit older than Katelyn, I had the privilege of not only raising my family of 6 kids, I think one of them might even be Katelyn's age, and serving on the House Financial Services Committee. My background here is that I've served in the military and now I'm serving in Congress. But it is so important, whether I'm working with a young military member who's getting their first paycheck, to whether I'm working with a bank owner for a small business in Iowa, that they all realize the impact that their value has in the economic system. And so I think setting people up for success early in this process goes really a long ways. So I'm really happy that April is not only Financial Literacy Month, but that we're taking some time out to really talk about what can be exciting here. So with this, I want to say, Katelyn, I'd be very interested to learn a little bit more about you, and if you'd share with the viewers and listeners today, kind of how you came into this.
So I've been involved with Junior Achievement for about a year now. My first event with them was last summer when I attended the Entrepreneur Her workshop. And from there, I became an ambassador with them. They've provided me with like numerous opportunities, including being able to speak with you today. And through their workshop, I got to learn about from many different women and their experience in the business industry, which is something I'm very passionate about. They spoke how they got to where they are today, and one of the main things that I took away from them was the importance of starting to make connections with people in the industry that you want to go into. For myself, I know that the business related field is for me, and it's important for me to build relationships with people and to grow in that way. And Junior Achievement has also taught me many characteristics of a great leader. And through their new credentials that they have created, I've gotten to learn about collaboration, communication, creativity, and many more that I'll be able to take into my job or into school and use to benefit me and people around me.
Katelyn, that's phenomenal. Can I ask just one follow-up here? You have had some great experiences. Talk to us a little bit about how you decided to get involved in this, what inspired you, and then maybe share even like where you are in your high school journey and what looks next. I know that's a question that dads ask all the time, but what are you thinking about for your next chapter?
For my next chapter, I really want to pursue marketing and kind of the business field and navigate my way through that. And I think I've been able to learn from different experiences with Junior Achievement with public speaking and learning how those things can kind of benefit me in my future. I'm hoping to go to college for marketing and pursue my major in that way. And hopefully, after that, get a job that can set me up for the future, um, and possibly start my own business, but that's down the road. So we'll see.
Well, that's incredible, first of all. I think it is difficult for anyone to think about what the next year holds. For our high school students, we ask them to think about what the next 4 to 5 years is going to hold for them. And to put the time and thought into where you'd like to see yourself, maybe even half a decade from now, means that you're making investments on your education. It means you're making investments to help pay for that education. And it means you're being disciplined about how you want to get to the goals that you've set for yourself. So I just want to say, not only do you make Iowa very proud, you're clearly incredibly accomplished in this space and a reflection of what the American dream is for so many people across the country. So compliments to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Well, hey, team, I think we're going to get into some questions here. So let me start with a real quick statement, and then Katelyn, maybe you can help me as we try to address this. What we are seeing today is about 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Every 2 weeks, they need their hard work to be able to come back to them. At the same time, 37% of adults say that they would not be able to afford really an unexpected expense in the amount of more than $400. And what that means is that's a grocery bill that goes unpaid. It might mean a situation where you get into a car accident, but you've got no money in your savings account to help pay for that. Or worse, maybe you're injured and you've got no ability to cover those immediate costs to help you until either your next paycheck or until insurance kicks in. This becomes a real challenge for everyday Americans. And one of the things we're talking to, particularly for young people, is how did you become aware that financial literacy is something that you've got to take both on yourself as well as hopefully with your family to be able to start planning for this. And Katelyn, I wonder if you might share how you do financial literacy, what it means to you, whether it's saving, whether it's, having a job now so that you can achieve the career and the goals that you've set out for yourself.
For me, I started learning about financial literacy through my financial literacy class in 8th grade. And that's kind of brought up the spending, savings, and givings branches. And that's kind of how I divide up my money for myself and in the job that I work in. I try to put as much money into my savings as I can to help plan and save for my future, as well as being able to give to my churches and other organizations, but then along with that, having money for myself and spendings that I may wanna have.
Wonderful. Good. And clearly you put some good thought behind that. Well, Katelyn, is there anything I can answer for you or questions that maybe we can talk about at a federal level?
From your perspective, how important is it for young Americans to learn about personal financial matters?
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the key elements of being a successful part, not just for your own life, but for part of your community. For many years before I served in Congress, I served in the state legislature. And one of the things I tried to advance there was personal responsibility as well as financial literacy, getting it to the classroom so that kids like you, Caitlin, have the opportunity to take that in 8th grade. I think it imbues in a person a certain sense that they have to be thinking about not just what's happening today, but also how they can be successful tomorrow. I've also seen this in the young military members. I still serve as a colonel in the US Air Force. When I talk to young military members on how they should be planning for their next step in life. And a lot of this goes back to a larger sense of personal responsibility. You don't want to be a burden on the system. And the hard work that you do, you want to make sure that you're investing wisely what you can do with those. And that means things like paying off your credit card bill, not buying the car that might be the nicest on the lot that you can barely afford, but can't get the car payments to pay for it going forward. Or worse, the insurance and secondary costs that come with having a nice automobile. I think it's really important that we at the federal level are helping Americans, one, retain more of their hard-earned dollars. And I've seen this time and time again, that when Americans have their own dollars in their pockets, rather than sending it off to a tax base, maybe in a place like Washington, if done well, they invest in their community in a way that helps grow that entire community and makes themselves a better position. Challengingly, we also have a situation where we need to help folks. Too many Americans are in a situation where one catastrophic event can change their entire life and the life that they want for their kids. And so being there with key ways to help somebody get back on their feet is something I think we all believe as Americans. But what we don't want to see are people who are making, poor choices time and time again, and then asking others to help carry their load for them. A challenging aspect of this I see is we want to make sure kids have the ability to go to school, to work hard, and to earn an education. I personally don't want to see a situation where we're simply paying back loans for individuals who didn't make that commitment. Now, there's a lot of really good programs out there for folks like nurses or teachers right here in Iowa, where we have the ability to help them pay off their loans so that they can work in communities like yours and mine, Bondurant or ADM, and teach or be a nurse or help out that community. Equally, we want to make sure that all of those who are helping these kids have a successful pathway, know that it's money well invested. and that we're returning back to the community when those individuals graduate, that they help grow the economy as well. So what I'll also say is that financial literacy helps to empower us to make a lot of decisions that will benefit both ourselves in the immediate, but where we want to go. And Katelyn, when you opened up about talking about expectations for yourself and where you want to be, I know you're already committed, like so many listeners and viewers on today, to making a plan to be successful now so that that next chapter can be a really bright reflection on the hard work you put in. So I want to compliment you again, Katelyn, and for the financial literacy team who helped put this together and giving us some tangible tools to be successful as we move out this April.